Well, it's inherently racist because, number one, it divides us. All lives matter. Number two, the Black Lives Matter never protests when every 14 hours somebody is killed in Chicago, probably 70–80% of the time a black person. Where are they then? Mm-hmm. Where are they when the young black child is killed? That is the predominant way in which a black person in this country will be killed, by another black, not by a police officer. What are they doing about that? That doesn't mean, that means they don't mean Black Lives Matter. They mean let's agitate against the police matters.
That's former New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani. He's been doing a lot of interviews over the weekend calling out Black Lives Matter, saying their arguments are anti-American, inherently racist. Marianne Marsh, former senior advisor to Secretary Kerry, and Gianno Caldwell, principal and founder of Caldwell Strategic Consulting and a GOP strategist. And good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Marianne, his larger point is that if Black Lives Matter cared about black lives, they would have been in Chicago a year ago, or 2 years ago, or 5 years ago, as a result of the gang violence there. It's hard to think that he does not have a point about that fact. Go.
Look, he makes a larger point, and it's a worthy point about Chicago and other instances. But unfortunately, Rudy Giuliani chose to throw a match on gasoline instead of providing the kind of leadership that's called for right now. And just ask the people who used to work for him, who still work in law enforcement, like New York City Police Commissioner Bill Bratton, or Jay Johnson, who's Secretary of Homeland Security, both of whom worked for him in the 80s and 90s, still work in law enforcement. They patently disagree with the way he's gone about this and his statements. So any good Rudy Giuliani was going to bring to this debate has been undermined by inflammatory, gratuitous arguments.
He would argue under his leadership the percentages of crime dropped when he had control over it as mayor.
Bill, you make a great point about the broken glass approach he took and the squeegees and all that, but he also introduced stop and frisk, which led to a deterioration between trust between individuals in the community and community policing. It takes a long time to regain trust. And Rudy Giuliani's policies of the 90s don't work in 2016. And that's exactly what Bill Bratton and Jay Johnson and many police officers and police chiefs, governors, mayors alike, will tell you across the country.
People like Ray Kelly said you have to stop and frisk. It's the only way to get inside the neighborhoods. And there are others who very strongly disagree with that, Maria. Now to Gianno. Back to the original point, Gianno. There has been zero national coverage of the killing streets in Chicago.
Well, I think that we've seen time and time again, and I grew up on the south side of Chicago, so I know firsthand that it's a very violent place resembling that of a war-torn country in the Middle East. So I've seen that firsthand where there's 50, 60 killings in a weekend, or shootings rather, and I think that it's disappointing that Black Lives Matter has not added that into their rhetoric. Where we talk about black lives, if they truly matter, then we need to be talking about the black-on-black crime. I absolutely agree with what he said there. However, I disagree with the narrative that we need to be suspecting our neighbors in the black community. Me having grown up on the south side of Chicago, I should be thinking about how someone in my community may be out to kill me. I thought that was kind of distasteful. Overall, I think that he has a point in terms of Black Lives Matter have to focus on policy positions that mutually brings everyone to the table when it comes to police, prosecutors, those who look at these issues, like those of the 2020 Leaders of America, that they brought in mayors, they brought in prosecutors, they brought in police, where we can collectively sit down and talk about these issues and come to some solutions. You cannot take police out of the conversation.
You will admit, though, that these Black Lives Matter protests, they're not on the south side of Chicago, are they? And they haven't been. They might be in downtown Chicago.
You see them when in a situation like Laquan McDonald in Chicago, which we saw that the police acted inappropriately under the leadership of Rahm Emanuel, who ran a very racist police department, according to his own study, President Obama, former chief of staff, and that's when you did see them. But when other situations with black-on-black crime, you do not see them. You're right, absolutely.
Marianne, another comment here about President Obama. We will see him tomorrow in Dallas, and he will be there with President Bush, number 43. What do you expect?
Well, I think that's appropriate. I look forward to hearing the president speak as he does so well and eloquently at times like this. I think the fact that former President Bush is speaking and the vice president is speaking as well is terrific. But I have to say, we're long past the point of talking. We've been talking for years. We're here every couple weeks talking about this. And what good has it done? It's time to act. The protesters need to do more than protest, register and vote. The police need more resources in community policing, and they need better training. Governors, Congress, mayors all need to do more. Get out there and vote. Change policies. Do something. Talk is cheap if it's not backed up by actions, and all we do is talk about it. So you can use all the words, right, wrong, or indifferent. You can point the finger everywhere, but every single one of us can do something, because when you point a finger at someone, you have three pointing back at yourself. We all need to do better.
To both of you, we have much more to discuss, but thank you for coming in today.
Thank you for having me.
Next time we'll talk about race relations too, because there are some who believe that they've gotten worse. We'll find out whether or not the facts back that up. The president made a comment about that overseas this weekend. Marianne, thanks. Gianno, thanks to you as well.
Thank you.
21 past the hour now. Martha.
No doubt. With all